Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is leading off. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. That, of course, is Dinger Dan Harris. And we're here live like we are every single morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, here for you, talking baseball. And Dan, I hope you had a nice weekend. I want to get caught up on what you were doing. We had a big dance recital yesterday for the little ones, so busy afternoon for sure. There was a lot of get it girls and a lot of you go girls and a lot of yes queen, but eventually I simmered down and I stopped being so obnoxious and yelling things out to the stage. But yes, it was an eventful weekend at the Pisapia house. How about you? Did you catch up on the Loki? Did you have a good time there? Did you get outside, or is it still just raining and miserable out there where you are in the great north?
It is currently raining and miserable. I don't know if you can even hear it on my sky, like windows, but yeah, it's pretty bad right now. This weekend, though, was nice, but a lot of, gardening and lawn mowing and everything like that. We did catch up on Loki. I loved it.
Right?
Loved it. I don't know if the kids appreciated it quite as much because I felt like they were a little confused, but they liked it. But I loved it. I was all in on it. It was
Isn't
a good
it
weekend.
very Terry Gilliam, 12 Monkeys, Brazil-ish kind of feel,
Yep.
right? I told you. It's like it's in that wheelhouse, and if you like that kind of stuff, then you're going to like that. By the way, also, small note on the dance recital thing. Those 4-year-olds really better get it together. I mean, their arms are all over the place. They're not on time with the music. Some of them just stop dancing. I don't know what's going on, but they really
What kind of dance is it? Are we talking like
it's all
hip-hop
the
or
dances.
ballet or everything?
My daughter, of course,
Yours.
keeping it street like the Pisapias do, is of course in the hip hop.
Of course.
And she actually won the hip hop award, actually, believe it or not. Yes, so shout out to the little one there doing good work. Look at that. But yeah, so you'll watch the whole thing. It's a beautiful day. It's a very emotional day. They do a nice job there. But yeah, I mean, you have the whole gamut. And luckily, I mean, it's such a huge place where they end up doing 3 different shows. This year we only had one daughter in one dance show, so it's not like an all-day affair where you have to be there sometimes for 2 or 3 of these things. Because God forbid if the other siblings all in one, the world would come to an end. But we digress. Nobody cares that much about our lives. Let's care about your baseball. And let's start with Vlad Guerrero Jr., who I think just hit another home run right before the show. 21 already, and we're on the 14th of June. You put him in the top 5 now, don't you, Dan Harris? Don't you? You want him.
Is he, I think he's the AL Triple Crown leader. Somebody in the chat confirm that, please. Yeah. But I think right now he's on pace to win the Triple Crown. This is there's always like a percent range, right, Joe, of like what we're going to see from any guy in any given year. Here's kind of his like 0%. Right. Here's 100%. We may be past the 100% mark for Vladdy, even how good he is. This is remarkable. If he stole any bases, just steal like a couple bases, he might be the number 1 player in Roto. But yes, this is just this. He is unparalleled. I think maybe Joe, he comes up to number 2 behind it. I think you have to put him behind Acuna, despite the right pectoral thing, which I think he's fine just because of stolen bases. But other than that, yeah, I don't know, man.
Look, I think we had him top 5 when we did the mock last week. And yeah, I mean, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the player everybody anticipated, just came a little bit later. So he leads the ups of the weekend for sure. And the Jays hitting 8 home runs in Sunday's game didn't hurt.
Jeez.
But you know what? Even if he wins the Triple Crown, winning the MVP is hard because he's not pitching. He's not pitching too. I'm sorry. He's not. That would be fascinating. Vlad wins the Triple Crown. The Angels and Ohtani hits 30 bombs, 35 bombs and throws 150 innings. I don't know. I think you just split the votes. I don't know what you do on that. Aaron Nola had a good game yesterday against the Yankees, 9 strikeouts for him, but he's been good at home all year. We talked about those splits just the other day. Carlos Rodon, nasty. Flourished with the no-no, still continues. I mean, it's only middle of June. It's July, August where I start to get worried about Rodon, but you know what? You just keep riding the wave. Now, wherever there's ups, there's downs. DeGrom was brilliant on Friday night, but he did leave. And here we go. A little early here with the flexor tendon and the issues and the flexor tendonitis tendon. And he's like, no, I'm fine. But I want to be worried for him. He's not worried. I'm worried. Dan, you're a pretty neurotic fellow like me. I feel like you're worried.
Yeah, of course I'm worried. And the thing is, this is the very classic Jacob deGrom Mets thing where he's like, I'm fine. I know I left a little early, but I'm fine. He goes out. He looks brilliant. He leaves a little early in this next start, and then he's on the IL for a little bit. They should shelve him for a little bit. But look, the bottom line is this guy has had legitimate elbow stuff. He's had Tommy John. He says he knows what it feels like. He says it's not a big deal. The MRI was clean. So if you roster DeGrom, I just can't imagine trading him. Like, even if you're worried about the injury, I just can't imagine. I am nervous about it, but for right now, my guess, I wish they'd kind of just give him a little bit of a breather, but he's going to make his next start. Apparently the MRI was clean. So for now, be optimistic if you want, unless you're like us and you're neurotic and always pessimistic. But for now, if you roster DeGrom, I'm just holding and I'm hoping for the best.
All right. Neris blows a few saves on the weekend too. That's not a good sign. And Max Scherzer, who we loved going into Friday night's game, tweaked his groin in warm-ups through 12 pitches and said, I'm out. But he seems to be fine. Seems like it was more just a bad situation. But, let's just, again, hope for the best. We're always worried about those older pitchers. And this is what I was worried about with Scherzer all year is, it just seemed like the last couple of years, the body's starting to give out a little bit. Yep. And we'll see. I think the Nats might be making a move at some point with him too. I think he's a game changer for anyone who can get him. St. Louis could use him. The Yankees could use him. There's a lot of teams out there that could actually go and make a run here for a Scherzer. Some fun news too. Those were the ups and downs, but Hunter Green headed to AAA. Spencer Torkelson promoted to AA. So a little bit of movement there. Maybe Hunter Green, maybe he gets a little shot at the big leagues this year. Perhaps. But some stuff from the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks already. Pickle says, I want the leading off merch. Well, you got to subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. We're almost there. My goodness. What are we, like 400 away, Dan, or something like that?
Yeah, a little bit less than 400 people away.
People. We're so
By the
close.
way, just to make it as clear as possible, you may never watch us on YouTube, which is fine. You may just listen to the podcast. Do you know the effort that it takes to log on to YouTube, click the subscribe button, and close YouTube? Like, it's
sounds like a lot of effort.
Just because you subscribe, honestly, we'd love it if you joined us here or you watch this later on, but you don't have to. You can just give us things like that. By the way, this is something I harp on, like reviews, subscriptions to YouTube. They're really, really low maintenance ways that go a really long way to support the show in a way that costs you guys nothing. So if you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, again, youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB, give us a thing and we'll get some leading off merch. There you go.
Derek Johnson also says, Joey P yelling, "Yes, Queen," was just what I needed this morning. You're welcome,
I needed
Derek.
some video of that, man. I needed some video of that.
I get very excited. You
I get
girl.
it. So do I.
You know what? There's always that one parent who's got the whistle, whether it be at the baseball game or the recital for dance. It doesn't happen at the piano recital. You don't get the whistle. But that one parent who knows how to do that weird whistle where they put their fingers in their mouth and they're really loud. And I'm always sitting in front of them.
Of course, I am the crazy parent also, Joe, just so you know. And you wouldn't think it, I don't think, because I'm generally pretty relaxed, but I get to my kids' sporting events and I am like the yeller and the like, and I don't, my wife teases me all the time because she's like, what version of this, like what version of you is this?
You think I'd be the crazy yeller?
Exactly.
I'm the antithesis. I'm cool. I'm the Coach K. I just sit back and I just watch.
And I am screaming and I'm like, Will, you got to rotate off your man. What are you doing? Like, I'm nuts. It's the worst version of myself. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Anyway.
No need for apologies. All right, let's continue on here with some more baseball news. Talk about some standouts from the weekend. Anthony Desclafani, complete game shutout, which he kind of needed, was kind of rough his previous outing. Aaron Savali, who we also talked about, is a great FanDuel investment. We love the matchup. We thought higher strikeouts against the Mariners, really good price. I think it was like 8-3 or something like that on FanDuel. 11 strikeouts, so we got that. So if you missed on Scherzer, but you had Savali and you were still pretty good. Giolito 9Ks against the Tigers. Clayton Kershaw was good, 9Ks for him. Going through the rest of the guys too, it's nice to see Jose Barrios, who we had talked about, really being a guy who was going to come back down. We talked about at one point that the ERA was in the mid 4s, but the FIP was in the mid 3s, and we said eventually this will come around. And look, 3.49 is now the new ERA. Look at that. Orange is the new black. Logan Gilbert, 6 innings, 6 Ks against the Indians, so good start from him. Chris Paddock with a nice start against the Mets too.
Yeah.
Is it safe to go out and Chris Paddock again? I got to tell you, that was a sharp outing for him. 9 strikeouts. I'm always very antsy about starting him any given week, but this was a good start. Can he build on this, Dan?
Yeah, I kind of think he can. Like, I'm not ready to call him 100% of the way, like, ooh, I'm all in, because again, he's not that far off from, having a couple of rough starts, but the strikeouts are up lately. I mean, he's got 21 over his last 3 starts. His velocity was up. I'm starting to get a little optimistic. Again, the big thing with him is he really does kind of need to have the reliable third pitch. I'm not sure we're there yet, but certainly I'm probably as optimistic on Paddock as I have been throughout the entire season. This start in particular was, again, because it's, I try to watch as many baseball games as I can, but against the Mets, I'm certainly more tuned in. He looked really, really good here. So I'm not out there like valuing him like I was in the spring, but I'm definitely moving him up my board as we get closer because he has looked more impressive, this one in particular.
Some standout hitters from the weekend. Michael Brantley, 8 for 11. I remember somebody having a long conversation on Thursday last week about Michael Brantley. Glorious. Kevin Biggio came back, 6 for 12 since he's been back over the weekend. 2 homers against the Red Sox, but then again, everybody hit a home run against the Red Sox. Matt Chapman showing some signs of life, 7 for 13.
Yes.
This might be the end of that window to buy low on him. Also, Matt Olson, Teoscar Hernandez, Kyle Schwarber, Rojas, Al Perez, Josh Donaldson. Lots of home runs this weekend for those guys. But of course, there were duds as well. Blake Snell on the road. We talked about his splits. He still can't get it right. Again, it was against DeGrom, so I don't know if it's even worth mentioning. But yeah, look, those splits are, we talk about when it's the time to look at the splits and not. And when it's the time, we've had enough of a sample size where you can start saying, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you just kind of play to the splits until the player shows you he can go against. Now, look, Aaron Nola, for instance, right? He has not been as good on the road this year. If he has a good road start, maybe you feel more confident. Your chances are you're starting him anyway, but in shallow leagues, you can make those moves. Trevor Bauer, 4 earned runs, 8 Ks against the Rangers. I want to talk about this one. The spin rate's down, so put the tinfoil hat back on and talk to me about the spin rates in Major League Baseball. Are you worried? Is now the time to get out of the Trevor Bauer business?
Well, I think it depends. Like, if you're in a league with someone like me, I'm not really buying Bauer that much right now. I'm staying away a little bit. And if people are like that, then you're going to want to just hold him because Bauer will be perfectly fine. Even this start, he gave up 6 runs, but only 4 earned. This is not a start that kills you. He still struck out 8 guys. But again, it's against the Rangers, which is one of the best matchups in baseball. The spin rate is really down. And again, we have seen Trevor Bauer be a completely dominant pitcher last year where he basically came flat out and said, I'm using whatever I can now to even the playing field. Absent that, he's really got one really good year in his career. And other than that, he's been pretty mediocre. So I am concerned about this. I think, Joe, again, I said it last week. I don't think the crackdown on these foreign substances is the effect is equal among all pitchers. I mean, we saw Corbin Burns, his spin rate go way down, but he still struck out 13. We talk about Jacob deGrom and how, I don't think he's using anything from what I can see, but there's been little effect. There are other guys who are having great starts. Bauer is a guy who very clearly used stuff last year, basically admitted it, and had a preposterous year. And since the crackdown has not been the same, I am concerned about Bauer. Not that he won't be usable or anything like that, but that
but
the extent we're ranking him
necessarily.
Correct. I really think that this is going to be a thing unless he can figure out a new way to quote unquote beat the system.
On the Sunday on the television program, we had a discussion about, should these things be outlawed or should they not? I mean, batters can use pine tar, to which I said, well, yeah, batters can use pine tar, but that helps them get a better grip on the bat. It doesn't help them hit the ball further necessarily, although theoretically, if you have a better grip on the bat, you have better approaches through the zone and you're able to do more things. So it is a very strange kind of going back and forth between these things, what they should be allowed. If there's something, I mean, you have the rosin bag out there for years, right? And the guys, back in the 80s, guys would be on the rosin bag all the time. I feel like it's something you don't see nearly as often, right? You remember those guys? I mean, maybe some of the rosin bags had cocaine in it in the 80s. That's very possible too, because those guys
on the Mets for sure.
They were like on the Mets especially. They were like knocking that rosin bag and had that on their arm and doing lines and stuff. But like, you don't see that nearly as much nowadays. The guys go to that, and it makes me wonder. Well, if not going to that, what are they going to? And what can we do that gives guys that better feel for the baseball, especially since they do change the baseball so often? Let's just land on a baseball, land on what you can use, what you can't, and let's just move forward. Because I think everybody wants a safer pitcher, but everybody also wants the game to be on a level playing field.
I think you hit it, which is I think if you ask batters, you'd be like, I'd really rather the pitchers have a decent grip on the ball so it doesn't accidentally hit me in the head. Like, I think that's a very normal thing, but there is a line like there is for everything else, which is, let's get like, I feel like if it's just the, suntan lotion mixed with rosin and stuff like that, people are like, that's fine. All right, that's fine. When you're saying I'm going to use stuff that allows me to pick up a cinder block and hold it in my hand without it dropping because it's so sticky, that's where people get a little offended. So what I think really they should do is MLB, the Players Association should all get together and just say, here's some approved stuff that we're going to use to help pitchers get a generally better grip on the baseball. Also, stop changing the baseball. Just give a baseball that they got. So right now, Joe, the bottom line is this. Guy like Trevor Bauer, I'm sure a guy like Garrett Cole, they very clearly used something significant to help them change because there's a very clear delineation between before they used it and after they used it. So they're not going to be, unusable or anything like that in fantasy, but I think there is going to be a little bit of a drop in their performance.
Good question here from, I believe it's Dylan. If it's Dylan, I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Say it either way. It's a great name. Either way, it's cool. Is Patrick Wisdom legit? I want to just throw this out because another guy I talked about over the weekend. Patrick Wisdom over his last 13 games heading into Saturday. 7 home runs, 11 RBI, 10 runs scored, 333 batting average, 1248 OPS. So, I mean, legit, tough to say. Ride the wave? Sure. I mean, you're not going to get anything for him in a trade. If you picked him up, just enjoy it while it happens. And if somebody wants to offer you something good, take it. That's what I say. Yeah,
I mean, it is a former St. Louis outfielder who they get rid of, which basically automatically means that you're a great player,
automatically,
right?
You're really good. Right. I mean, that's the thing to be nowadays. And speaking of those guys, I got some splits for you. You want a fun split?
Sure.
I did Adolis Garcia home and away. You ready for this?
Ready.
This is another thing I was working on this weekend. Batting average at home 255, OBP 283. Yuck, gross. OPS 751. Away from Texas 283, 325 OBP. A 909 OPS and 10 of his 16 home runs on the road. So when you add in the splits, when you add in the strikeouts, Adolis Garcia is like, an accident waiting to happen. I just want to point that out there for people.
That's how I feel. And I think it's, and he has kind of proven me wrong so far. I mean, he's cooling down obviously a little bit, but for the most part, I expected him to be a flash in the pan. That's kind of what I think of Wisdom right now. As good as, I mean, he's 29 years old. He does hit for a lot of power, and he will, but there is going to be massive slumps coming. So I would not trade for Wisdom. I would ride while he's hot, and he's one of these guys who I would just get rid of as soon as he cools down.
All right, another question too, because I want to highlight this one from Zachary Sullivan because I'm getting so many questions about what to do with Luzardo.
We got it on
Is
Twitter,
Luzardo droppable in 10-team leagues for a team that's struggling for pitching? In a 10-team league, sure, because the replacement value's out there and the streamability, if that's a word. If it's not, I just made it up, and I'm very proud of myself. But yeah, I don't see why you couldn't make that move there. It becomes more complicated in the keeper leagues and the deeper leagues. But how are you approaching Luzardo depending upon the depth of league you're playing in?
Yeah, well, we got questions about this on Twitter, and so I know people are asking it. This year, I think more than ever, Joe, I find roster spots to be precious because you've got so many injuries.
I find you to be precious. I just want you to know. You're
I really appreciate that. Thank you. And I don't disagree. I think that you've got to really, really guard the roster spots. And here's the bottom line with Luzardo. I don't know why the A's decided that they were going to move him to the bullpen, but I do know that they have shown no inclination to move him back into the rotation as of any time yet. And the guy has over a 6 ERA. And his expected stats aren't that much better. So in a 10-team league, I'm perfectly fine moving on. In a 12-team league, Joe, I'm fine moving on. I have him in a 12-team league, and I have him in a 14-team league. I'm holding him right now just because the options are pretty bare at this point. It's like a prospect that I'm stashing and hoping for the best in the end of the year. But for the most part, look, what do you want to say? I mean, he's started 6 games this year. It doesn't look like he's starting anytime soon. You got to guard those roster spots. We are trying to deal with the many, many injuries that we've got. You got to move on. So I'm okay to cut him in 10 or 12 if you have to. Deeper than that, I'm probably just holding because what are you waiting on?
All right, some more injuries to get to. Max Muncy goes to the IL with oblique tightness. Ugh. Stop me if you heard this one before. Luis Severino suffered a groin injury, returns delayed. Oh, jeez. Sounds a lot like these other pitchers where they're working their way back and then something else happens.
This is a thing, by the way. Can we just make that a thing, by the way? The holding the I can't wait. I've got Thor.
Ooh,
I've got Severino.
Oh, you were ready for this. I could tell
I've got
you're fired up.
Sale.
Oh, dude, I did 0 of it this year. 0.
I'm telling you, dude, because I get this every time. And I don't know about you, Joe. I share teams with a couple of like close friends, just close friends. We talk about this in Discord, by the way. We talked about what it's like to co-manage a team with a friend in the Discord. Again, FantasyPros.com/chat. And it was very much like one of my buddies always wants the, hey man, let's stash Thor. It's gonna be great. Let's take him to the auction. And I'm like, dude, there's just so many things have to go right for these guys with the serious injuries like this, coming back from Tommy John or whatever, not Severino, but whatever, to provide value. You've got to avoid landmines for like 6 months straight. Stop drafting these guys, okay? They're for the most part wasting, right?
Unless you're getting them for free. And I got to tell you, 0 Syndergaard, 0 Sale, 0 Severino this year.
Me too.
In any redraft league.
Yeah.
It's different in keeper leagues because you get them at a discount.
Absolutely.
You have to understand you're probably not going to contribute, but the next year you might get them at a different price, especially if it's an auction. That's where you do it. Even Verlander, something like that.
Okay, put up Mark's comment before you, by the way, just so you know. When you're done, keep going. I'm sorry, because I want to mention it.
All right, let's do this. Not sure, Dan. Framber Valdez kind of worked out.
Framber Valdez is not Luis Severino or Chris Sale.
He didn't have an elbow injury.
Right.
Close.
He didn't have an elbow injury or anything like that. He fractured a finger. And all you had
for a couple weeks. That's
all you had was a random John Heyman, who, by the way, as Mike Mayer can attest, Heyman is not the most reliable guy when he just randomly spouts things without sources or anything like that. Basically being like, he's out for the year. All right, he's out for the year. Sorry, this is it. Like, that's not what you do. A broken pinky, yeah, you can survive on that. When guys have major off-season surgery and they're going to be out till June, that's when you try to avoid. You want to draft Framber Valdez all day long? Go ahead and do it.
I'd love a random John Heyman. That's one of my favorite drinks, actually. I like to order it at the golf course. A couple of Long Island iced teas here for my friends, and I'll take a random John Heyman.
And Heyman has a lot of good stuff, so I don't want to be like disparaging him, but there are many times where he sort of just spouts out things.
JP Barossi has never, ever broken a story that's true. All he does is make things up. It's true. And I've been told this by people inside baseball, and then I started noticing it and going, oh my God. That dude hasn't reported anything properly in years. He just makes up ideas so they can click on it on MLB.com. But anyway, Acuna we talked about.
Yes.
The rest of the injured guys we kind of talked about. Mitch Haniger left Sunday's game with a really bad knee bruise. Just be aware of this. I don't think he's going to play for a couple days. You might want to sit him this week if you have other options.
I agree with
Bellinger missed the weekend with hamstring tightness. But Byron Buxton could be activated today. Yay, something good. But Michael Pineda going probably to the IL with forearm pain. Not good. Let's do the Cracker Jack update. Dr. Glenn can't be stopped. I mean, he is
he's using Spidey tack or whatever.
I don't know what's going on with this guy. Yeah, he's definitely using a foreign substance. I can tell you that right now. He is the new leader with 8. He's ahead of me. Congratulations, Doc.
Wow.
8 different Cracker Jacks added 2 home runs over the weekend. Nick C added 3. So the leaderboard right now is Dr. Glenn ahead of tough guy Joe Pisapia, followed by a bunch of folks with 5 right now. So I got to get this one right.
We got to nail it, Joey.
Move through. So let's move through here and talk about the DFS slate because it is 13 games and I want to hit through some of these things. So there's some games here where guys are going head to head. We're going to talk about those. Cash game arms tonight. Sean Manaea is 9-9 on FanDuel and on DK 10.1. Matthew Boyd's on the slate tonight with a good matchup at 7-2, 6-8. Wainwright at home, who's been very good at home. Still a little risky for me. 8K. 8.8 on DK, and then Kenta Maeda is just 6-6 on FanDuel against the Mariners, and Haniger's not going to be in that lineup either. Ooh, I kind of wonder, especially with Colorado in play tonight. Ooh, it makes me wonder, maybe have a share of that just to see what happens. Maybe you get enough out of him. I don't know. All I know is it's intriguing. Alex Wood I don't like on FanDuel, but I'm curious about him on DK as a secondary arm at 8.5. He's been a little up and down. Maeda's just 7.4. Oh, we're looking for offense. Oakland and San Diego. San Diego, obviously, in Colorado. Tatis going in there hot off the grand slam. Baltimore and Cleveland, I look for some offense there. Pick a side. Tyler Glass now at 10-8 and 10-7 against Lance Lynn at 11K and 9-9. And keep in mind, the Rays have the best road record in baseball.
Yeah, I don't want to pick a side, man. But this is going to be a good one. I'll go with Glass now, who I almost always go with, and the Rays. Again, Lynn does have the occasional propensity just to not strike out that many guys for a random reason. But this is, I think both guys are going to be good. But I would, if I have to pick one side, I'll go with Glass now and the Rays.
I'm going to go with Glasnow. I actually think you can make money tonight because there's not a lot of great pitching on this slate.
True.
If you go with Glasnow and the roster percentage is low and use him in a tournament,
yep.
I got to say, I think you could win some money here because if he has let's keep in mind too, this White Sox lineup has taken a lot of hits over the last couple months. It's a lot of injuries to it. It's not quite the same lineup. This might be an opportunity here, especially the Rays have played on the road this year. Best road record in baseball. Alek Manoah against Nady Eovaldi. I'm going to run away from this one. I'm out. I'm out. Eovaldi's been really good. He burned me last time. We're in a fight right now. We're not speaking. Your thoughts on this one? Involvement at all or run away?
No, run away. I mean, there is a 0% chance I would start anybody right now against the Blue Jays. Just the lineup up, top to bottom is way too hot. Imagine what they're going to be like when they get Springer back. And Manoah, again, ever since that first start, he's been fine, but against the Red Sox, probably an angry Red Sox team, pretty desperate for a win. I'm staying away like you.
And in case anyone is wondering what's in my cup, it's random John Heyman. It's a delicious blend
the best.
Of citrus and bitters.
The best.
Lots of bitters. Before we get to the lineup builders for today, I want to let everybody know that I'm sorry, I have to apologize. I've already sold out the Ultra Smooth package at Manscaped. It's not available anymore. I sold it so damn hard, and it's not available, so you missed it. So now that that's not available, you can still get the Lawnmower 4.0 for Father's Day. There's still some time. Yep. You're only like 7 shopping days or whatever it is away now. 6 shopping days from it. But Manscaped.com has that Lawnmower 4.0 that is for you. 7,000 RPM trimmer, skin-safe technology, 4,000K LED light. It's got the guard lengths 1 through 4, the longest battery life ever. Also, they have some fun other products too. With the smooth package, here's the thing, the ultra smooth package is gone, but the smooth package still available. That's got the crop exfoliator, which is infused with ingredients that can soothe, clear, and keep the skin on and around your groin and Max Scherzer's groin, feeling refreshed, reducing the risk of ingrown hairs, and maybe that's what Max Scherzer had on Friday night. It's got the crop gel, which is the clear, unique shaving gel for the groin, and when it's time to shave, the crop shaver. That's right. It's designed just for shaving you-know-what. For you-know-who. So, here you go. Manscaped, 20% off. Use the code LEADINGOFF and free shipping. Again, that's LEADINGOFF, manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Dan, let's get to the lineup builders for tonight. Kyle Schwarber at the top of that lineup has been hitting the baseball. He's just 2.7 on FanDuel. He's your FanDuel guy. Cesar Hernandez at 2.7. Christian Arroyo still going to that well for a little while because he's a free square at 2.1. That gets you Glasnow right there. Bada boom, bada bing, you done. Teoscar Hernandez at 2.7. Will Myers at 2.6. Eric Hosmer at 2.9 in Colorado. Say what? DK, Cedric Mullins at 3.5. Ryan Mountcastle at 3.2. And Brennan Rodgers at 2.9. That's what I've got. Dan Harris, where are you going for your home run call tonight, my friend?
I'm going against Dylan Bundy, which is where I like to go. And I'm going to Oakland. And I'm taking Matt Olson, who's having, you mentioned him with the double dong, I think yesterday. Remarkable season right now for Olson. I'm going with him.
He was the guy I had, took it out this morning, put in Tatis instead. I hope I'm wrong and you're right and you get up that leaderboard. And I hope I'm right too, because I'm calling my shot with Fernando Tatis Jr. In Colorado. I think against the lefty tonight, Gomber. So that feels right.
Yes.
Also, I want to remind everybody, if you want that leading off merch, look, we're only 400 subscribers away. That's nothing. I see how many people listen to this podcast, okay? There's a lot of you. Thousands of you are listening. All you got to do is go to YouTube, go to Fantasy Pros MLB, click subscribe. That's it. Boom. Click the notifications button, and you are part of this crazy train anyway. You might as well do it, and you can get a free t-shirt. Maybe we'll give one away. Who knows what we'll do. In the meantime, we're giving away an Ohtani baseball. Go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. Leave your review of the show on Apple Podcasts or CastBox. Take a screenshot. Go fill out that form at fantasypros.com/MLB contest. And that Shohei Ohtani ball can be yours. Thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. Dan Harris, any parting shots? And yes, I am getting desperate. Tatis in Colorado should be illegal. But you know what? I'm taking it anyway, Wonky Penguin. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. You get it, girl. All right. Anyway, sorry. I'm still hungover from yesterday. Dan,
fine.
Any final thoughts here before we close the show out for the day?
No, I will very quickly answer a couple of questions that I see coming through on YouTube. No, I would not start Lance McCullers this week. He's going to piggyback with Jake Odorizzi and may only get 1 start, so I'm not that excited. Maeda, I would start this week. He's got 2 starts. He went 4, I believe, not 5. In his rehab outing, but he should be good to go, and he looked good. I'm hopeful that he will be over the arm soreness that may have led to him having a slow start. That's it. it. Just answering a couple of questions. That's all.
And Dr. Glenn, to close things out, he says, my home run call secret is a few years ago. I traveled back in time with a disgraced physicist and stole a sports almanac from the future. Dr.
I think
Glenn,
that's psychist, by the way. Psychist.
Oh, psychist?
Psychist.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know if that's a real word, by the way, but I think that's what he was saying.
He's a psychist? Is that what he is? I don't
know.
I've never even heard of that.
A disgraced psychist. I don't know.
If he is even a real doctor anyway. I don't even know if Dr. Glenn is a real doctor. But he's a doctor calling home runs, so he's done very well. And if you want to get into that, of course, go to Discord and join our channel there. Dan, where can everybody do that? FantasyPros.com/chat. Of course, again, it is awesome. It is just fun. We are just in there talking. It really is. All the people who listen to this podcast or come with us on YouTube, that's all that we do. I mean, honestly, just go FantasyPros.com/chat. Just go. And we'll be back here again tomorrow to do it all again. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Dinger Dan, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.